Okay. Hope you are able to see my screen. Is my screen visible?
No, sir. Yes, sir. No, it is visible.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Page. So, okay, I am going to be handling the AI and digital transformation paper. Actually, it is actually 10 modules totally. I'm sure you would have seen it in the material. I will be handling the first 5 modules. This paper is handled by 2 faculty. I would be the first faculty handling the 5 modules. There will be another faculty who will be handling the rest of the 5 modules. A quick intro about myself before I start the session for your reference. Been in the industry, done that, been there. So it's roughly around 35 years since I've been in the technology industry. Today, primarily from 2015, actually, for the last 10 years, I've been focusing more in terms of giving back to the society. So I'm a visiting faculty in multiple universities. I'm in the board of studies in a lot of universities. I support multiple forums and I run 2 organizations. One is called ARA Associates, where I focus more in terms of ISOs, data privacy, data security kinds of consulting. And the other is Humanetics, which is more into the HR automation, HR technology implementations kinds of aspects. So these are the things that I work on. And I was also awarded the top 10 leaders creating global impact by Business Connect for this year. So this is in brief about me. And then what is this paper all about? As I said, it is 10 modules. I'm going to be handling 5 modules out of this. So the first module is focusing on digital transformation. Basically, what is the need? What does it mean when we say digital transformation? Why do we need it? What is the purpose? And then we move on in terms of trying to understand the various disruptions in learning and what are their risks, like how the workforce has changed. What are the needs that are coming up which are disrupting the way we operate? What are the risks around the digital transformation and how do we mitigate? And then we move on in terms of trying to talk about upskilling, wherein I'll focus on what is upskilling, the aspects and dynamics of upskilling, how do we implement upskilling in our organization, and how do you balance learning and working? Because we are all talking about an L&D head in an organization where there is always a work that goes through. So we'll have to balance this. Much beyond the work-life balance, here we are talking about work and learning balance. So we'll see how that can be managed. And then we move into the continuous learning, which is more in terms of what is the strategy towards continuous learning, what are the cultural dues, and how do you ensure people are able to learn continuously using gamification and all that is what we'll see. And I will stop with the fifth module, which is focusing on e-learning, e-learning history, standards, and all that. So primarily the first 5 modules sets you up in terms of the L&D, wherein we talk about digitization, we talk about learning disruptions, we talk about upskilling, continuous learning, and e-learning. The rest of the modules will focus in terms of how the technology can be used.
So
So
your video is off, sir.
yeah, the video is off. I'm not on video, unfortunately, because I met with an accident. I have my right
Oh,
arm
sorry, sir.
shoulder fractured.
Oh,
So
sir.
I've not switched on the video because
No,
I'm not video ready.
no
I
problem,
can't
sir.
wear shirt and all that.
Sorry to hear this, sir. Please
Yeah,
continue, sir.
Sorry.
Thank you. Thank you,
yeah,
sir.
yeah, thanks. So this is in essence what we are going to cover. And some ground rules. Normally, when I do the sessions, I will ask a lot of questions. So let's make it interactive as much as possible. So you can stop me whenever, wherever, if you have a question. I can discuss that if it is related to that particular point, or if it is coming later on, I will tell you just hold on so that we will look at it and all that. Feel free to stop. More importantly, there is no right or wrong among this group. So when I ask a question, feel free to deliberate on that by responding so that we will be able to learn better. And most important, you have a material which has a lot of detail. What I'm trying to give you is more in terms of a summary of what you have on the material. So it is really important that you go through the material. The structure will be 5 sessions is what we have. So each day I will be covering one module for 1 hour. Like for example, module 1 is roughly around 13, 14 pages. I'm going to do it in 1 hour. So you know how much I can summarize on it. There is only that much that I will be able to do. A lot depends on your learning. So 2 ways of looking at it. One is a good option would be for you to go through the material, come in for the session, ask your questions, and anything beyond, we can probably look at it. The second part of it is more in terms of you can learn, read the book after I get into the this thing, after I complete the module, so that if you have any questions, we can probably look at it the next time also. So by default, I'll start every more session with questions on the allowing you to ask questions on the previous module. So either pre-read or post-read after the session. That way you will be able to grasp things faster for your completion. So this is at a very high level in terms of the module. We will get into the specifics. So let's probably try to understand the first aspect, digital transformation. So when I say digital transformation, what comes to your mind? Anybody?
It's the basically technology,
Okay. What else? Anybody else? Anything
Manual
else?
automation.
Automations of the process.
Automation of process. Okay.
Reduction of the paperworks.
Reduction of paperworks. Okay.
Transformation of digitization in real world.
Okay. Formation of digitization in the real world. Okay. So basically, all that what we are talking of is it's basically an integration of digital technology into every aspect of our life. So it changes the way we look at things, the way we interact with people, the way the technology is consuming a lot of the way we operate on a day-to-day work, which means it's a hybrid, it's a complete culture change that happens. Now, a very good example, I'm not going to take a very technical, highly this thing in terms of the example, but I'll take a very mundane example. 15 years, 20 years back, or maybe slightly earlier, 25 years back, we never had this mobile phones to this level. We were all having landline phones and all that. So today, how many of us are actually having a landline phone? Number one. Number two, how many of us use the mobile phone for talking? We are so used to using it on chatting. We are so used to using it for browsing, video, everything. So one, the technology has come into every aspect of our life because I know people who can go bizarre when the mobile phone is not working or there is no signal for the mobile. And it has actually changed the way we live, we work, interact because we no longer see people, we no longer use the landline, we no longer talk, but it's all WhatsApp and then WhatsApp calls, WhatsApp messages, so on and so forth. And is driven by technological advancements on an ongoing basis and evolving needs. Like it started off as a phone that could be used wherever, whenever you are, so that I can reach you. Like my satellite phone that came up in those days, which finally flunked. Only military is using. Later on, we started using it for chat. Today, chat itself, there are so many. We are using it for browsing. So it actually changes the way we operate. So it questions the status quo, the culture change that changes the status quo because you don't even use landlines. You don't use cameras because you're looking at when I ask you what are the features that you look for on a mobile phone, you will talk about camera as the first one. So that's a classic example of a digital transformation. So if I am to define digital transformation, I will say digital transformation is the integration of the digital technology into all walks of our lives. And more importantly, it changes the way we operate and live our lives. See, the key is when I say transform, whenever I say transform, it should actually question the status quo. And here, as you're all saying, digital, we were defining digital transformation, you said a lot of things. So that digitization happens and it transforms. Now, while you are saying you are giving different terminologies around it, we will talk about all those in a moment. But the essence that we are trying to do, look at here is it's a change in culture. It uses technology and it questions the status quo and is impacting every walk of our life. So that is your digital transformation. Now, very easily put, this is what it is. But how is it impacting a business? When you look at it from an organization, we are all employees or entrepreneurs. So when you look at it from that perspective, how do you think digital transformation is impacting business? Anybody?
sir. It
Reducing
reduces the
Okay.
workload, work time.
Okay. Okay.
Ease of business, ease of
Ease
business,
of business.
ease of
Okay.
business and speed. Cost.
Okay, speed.
So better
Integrate the
accessible
processes.
Easily
Data.
accessible also, sir.
Okay,
data accessibility.
okay, fine.
Sir,
What I will, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, time and cost. It is reduce time and cost and improve the brands and efforts and efficiency
Super.
of the organization.
Services
So
and accessibility has improved.
accessibility has improved. Fair enough. So now what I'm going to do is now when you look at the, yes, it is impacting business this way, right? But how is this helping out in terms of, let us say, for example, improving the overall, we are talking about accessibility, we are talking about availability, we are talking about, but when I talk about it from the perspective of a return on investment, a profitability, all those, where is this coming up?
That integration
So
of process, system, and people
super,
towards the goal or vision
excellent.
of the organization.
Excellent. So when I take any organization, I have four pillars. The the organization thrives because of customers, and customers buy products from us. Those are the two corners, the top left and the bottom right. Now, those products are created by the employees, and there is a cost that we invest. That is the other two corners, the bottom left and the top right. Now, all of us concur when we talk about organization, these are the four things. Now, when I talk about digital transformation, basically, I am expected to collect data. All of us talked about accessibility, ease of operation, speed, a lot of things. Now, basically, all that is because I'm able to capture the digital signals, that is the data. I consolidate that to build the intelligence. Now, when I'm intelligent enough, I will be able to action on them so that my business outcome improves. We all concur. So, how does this happen? When I take customers, customers send us a lot of customer signals. When you really look at it, customers send us a lot of customer signals. Now, what do I mean by customer signals? Now, let's take a minute. Again, I will take a mundane example. When you go normally to a brick and mortar shop, let us say you want to buy a trouser, formal trouser. You go in and say, I want to have a trouser. The guy is going to ask you 20 questions. We know why he's asking, but we will wait for him to ask. And then finally, based on that, he'll ask, what is it that you want? What type of material you want? What is the pricing? What is a lot of those things? And then finally, he'll give some samples. We will try it out and give it. Now, what is happening? Are we really doing that today? Today, we are having a lot of things on the social media that our wants are much open rather than what it was earlier. We are all used to saying a lot on the social media than telling something to a person sitting next to us. So organizations have started picking information from the social media. Those signals that come in are taken and you get it. That is where you get a deeper relationship. The best example for this is our Amazon. Even before we know whether we like something or not, Amazon says this is what you would like. Multiple times you would have gone in to buy a charging cable for the mobile phone, and finally you land up buying a new mobile phone because you felt shy you are having an old mobile phone. While I'm not expecting an answer, I'm sure all of you will concur on that point. So what are we doing there? Basically, we are taking the customer signals, the insights built out of those signals enable me to understand the customer better. How is Amazon able to say this is what you like? People who bought this also bought those. People of in your locality is buying this. People of your age group is buying this. All this is based on data. They just assimilate them, patternize them. So the key factor here in data intelligence is how are you able to pattern it so that you are getting it? Right? Similarly, when you look at the other end product, how do you improve on the product? When Amazon started, he was not to this level. I know of scenarios where when you buy probably, let's say you buy a notebook, it it in those days would probably say people who bought this also bought and show a bucket. While the products are sample that I'm trying to give for the example, the reality was these are two unrelated products that could probably come in. They evolved over a period of time. So the product telemetry, the product data that comes in is what is used for you to give a better product. Now, a very good example, again, if you really look at it, is when you go to all these grocery stores, your Spencer's and big baskets and all that, when you go to their store, for example, most places, when you have breads, you'll have the butters next to it. Or when you have your cereals like your Kellogg's, you'll have the different varieties of your milk, that is your almond milks to your soya milks next to it. The marketing term in terms of your market basket analysis happens there. When somebody buys a cereal, they need a milk. So how did this happen? Again, a data. People picked on the data and then tried to pattern things. Okay, so people who bought milk bought sugar. People who bought breads bought butter or jam or some sandwich spreads or mayonnaise or whatever. People who bought cereals like Kellogg's always bought this kind of a milk. So those are product related data. Product telemetry is live data that comes in, using which you're able to give a better product. Similarly, when you look at it from an employee angle, we always started off in those days. If you really look at it, all of us are HR, you would really looked at it. We always had those employee surveys, yearly surveys, where we tried to take their inputs and then we started giving. Today, one, we are having pulse surveys. We have surveys at the drop of the hat. Number one. Number two, there are a lot of signals that come in. Now, for example, when you take recruitment, we are not even recruiting based on profiles. We are recruiting based on their LinkedIn profile. That's basically because we are able to see what type of people are they connecting to, how confident are they in their area of operation. There are a lot of things. So those are called employee signals. That helps you to get a better aligned employee, which means you get a better employee efficiency. Again, data oriented. And lastly, the operations. Today, we talk about all the expenses. We talk about optimizing the expenses, a lot of these things. So again, we take the operational data. So the essence that I'm trying to bring in is there is a lot of data that is available today. This has enabled us to make more informed decisions, which is putting us into a level where we could enjoy a lot more related to this transformation. So in essence, this is digital transformation. When you look at it on an individual level, it is changing the way it is questioning the status quo, all that. Same thing when I put it into the business. Let me go back here, the definition that I gave. It is integrating into every aspect of life and business. Business, we just saw, right? The four pillars for the business are your customers, products, employees, and operations. Yes, it is integrating. It changes the way we live, work, interact. Yes, we no longer have one-to-one interviews. We are talking about AI interviews. We are talking about LinkedIn-based recruitments, lot of things. And it is driven by ongoing technological advancements. Yes, we were talking of using LLMs for JDs. Today, we are getting into AIs for doing the interview. So we are able to get it. And it's a culture change. Yes, all of us will have to accept the reality. And more importantly, it challenges the status quo. This is how I was. Is no longer the way I am today. So that's the essence that we are getting into. Is it making sense? Are we all clear what digital transformation is?
Yes, sir.
Anyone?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So basically, a lot is dependent on the way we operate. Now, if I am to ask you, what are the key drivers for us to be successful in this transformation? Now, or I'll probably reword it. What are the key drivers that shaped this digital transformation landscape? What would it be? How were we able to reach this far? Why do you think we were able to achieve this? Anybody?
It's the easy accessibility to data.
Okay. Easy accessibility to data.
The user
Don't you think we
interface
also
is
have a challenge? Sorry, don't you think we also have a challenge in terms of the veracity of the data?
Yes,
So
sir.
that's
But
something.
but
Yeah.
digitalization is all about connecting one process to another process with people and the requirement.
Perfect.
So
Perfect. Yeah. Somebody else was saying something. Go ahead.
so the user interface has become really easy. So
Okay.
that is driving people to use it more. Yes, the
Super.
data is complicated, but
Super.
if worked well, it can be positioned in the right way.
Okay. What else?
Sir, satisfying the customer need as per their requirement.
Okay. Now, okay, I get where you're coming from. All of you are in sync in terms of what we are talking. But I'll have a basic question. Now, this digitization, when do you think it started? 5 years, 10 years, 15 years?
10 years, sir.
Okay, when do you think it peaked?
2020.
The Nokia mobile when
After
it started.
2020.
At the
2020.
time of
Wait, wait.
COVID.
Pardon?
After COVID, sir.
Yes.
2020.
Yes. So there are a lot of these external factors which also helps us to get into this. As you all said, a lot of this acceptance came in only after COVID, because that is when we realized we could work remotely. That is when we realized these operations. In fact, I do not know how many of you have seen this. During the initial days of COVID, at one point, the biggest searching phrase in Google was Zoom fatigue. Because every one of us were going from one meeting to another on Zoom, that at one point we were tired of Zoom. In fact, Zoom got into popularity only at that time, and they also failed at that time because they had the server in China, and then we talked about data privacy, a lot of those things. But the point that I'm trying to bring in here is three distinct factors. One, the biggest change was because of the trigger of the pandemic. We were able to adopt to remote workforce, hybrid work models, and all that. Because once the pandemic was over, most organizations did not say come back to office. If you really look at it, all big names, they allowed work from home. They allowed people to come partially in a week and then stay back in the rest of the week, stay back, work from home. So a lot of these things came in. And how did that change from an employee angle? People did not worry about leaving. So if I'm let us say, for example, in some tier 3 town, I will pick a job in tier 1, but I will say I won't relocate. I will work from home. I'll come once a month. So the employee expectations also changed, and organizations started providing policies that would allow. Now, how did it impact from a training angle? We started looking at a lot of e-learning modules. We started looking at a lot of virtual trainings. See, until COVID, we were all not able to achieve the 100% multi-locational trainings. We had to repeat the training. We had multiple faculty or same faculty traveling into multiple places, a lot of those things. But we moved on. We said, yes, we will do it remote. People log into a Zoom call, Zoom meeting, and then the training will happen. Classic example is our own ISTD. I used to handle classes in each of the chapters. So ISTD, I used to handle it in Chennai. I'm from Chennai. I used to handle it in Chennai. ISTD had different sets of faculty handling these diploma sessions in various chapters. Today, it is one call across all chapters. People come in and we have specific set of trainers like me who do the session. So those are classic changes that came in. The second biggest thing, if you really look at it, I will go to the top. I'm consciously sandwiching the centerpiece. Now, the second biggest was the continuous technology innovation. As somebody said, we are getting a lot more data. I'm able to automate the process. Some of you said that. Now that is happening because automations started gaining momentum because we started moving into an AI world. But that happened because the cloud started coming in. Now, the reason why I say cloud is the biggest change maker is because when I work on Gmail or Microsoft Hotmail was there for almost 35, 40 years now. But Gmail changed the way. Now, how does all those operate? We don't even know where our mails and attachments are stored. We call it Google Drive. None of us know where is that drive available physically, right? So the way that we have started operating with all these apps coming in, a lot of these phone related things coming in, we have gone into a scenario where it is like the physical cloud. You're able to see its existence, but you can't touch and feel. So that changed the way because I no longer needed huge spaces, huge machines and all that helped me achieve it. And that is where I started working on it. Now, the bigger reason for that is also the Industry 4.0. Though I have not put that explicitly, that contributed because Industry 4.0 thrives on IoT, cloud, automation, AI. So it made the life easy in terms of automation. And with the COVID coming in, I was able to do a QC remotely by sitting at home rather than doing it. And I was able to bring in robots which could operate in the factory floor rather than people, and I could manage the COVID better. That's the essence of the first and the last bullet point. Now, that made us get into the customer. The customer's expectations evolved. They no longer wait for a new product to come for a long time. They want it like yesterday. Now, that fast food culture has come into all these aspects. So, we are expecting everything to be fast, smart, and more importantly, personalized. Now, classic examples are Amazon. If two of us sit next to each other and then search for the same product at the same time, the suggestions that come to the two of us will not be the same because each of it is dependent on what we have bought in the past, our buying power, our interest levels, our lot of other parameters that comes in that happens. Or for that matter, Netflix. Why do we love Netflix compared to a lot of other Indian versions also? That's basically because you're able to relate well. Netflix is able to explicitly indicate what is it that you will like. A lot of the times, the genres you follow, the nature of actors that you're doing, the type of actors you're looking at, lot of those put together, it comes in. So, lot of these services are becoming personalized. Now, keeping all this in mind, if you'll have to see what is the impact in the L&D function, the essence of what we are talking about, because ultimately we are all looking at a training and development diploma. So, what is the essence? How is it impacting L&D? Very simply put, I am having the learners expecting a lot of things in their own way, like we are talking about bite-sized learning. We are talking about customized learning paths. We are talking about remote learning, learn while you go. We have so many apps that allows you to learn whenever you want to. We are talking about these apps which are also telling you your career is this way, so this is the way you want to get into. So today we are using the technology in a fashion wherein we will probably be able to reach out to these people in a lot easier manner in terms of what we are into. Is that making sense? Any questions till now on it?
So, sir, just one question I
Yes.
have.
Yes, sir.
Really, you said correctly that technology has really changed the way how we are learning. Either it's a bite size, customized learning, remote learning,
Mm-hmm.
24 learning. And
Mm-hmm.
one thing that coming in my mind, being a L&D
Mm-hmm.
professor, I am the also that the bite
Mm-hmm.
size learning.
Mm-hmm.
How even 15 seconds, 30 seconds learning is already sometimes difficult for us. At our attention span is reducing every day. So it is how to cope up with this challenge because I don't the I, earlier we are having some 1.5 hour sessions. Now it is reducing to 1 hour. I'm not talking about ISTD everywhere, and then it is further reducing to bite-sized chunk, bite-sized learning. How it is going to evolve in the coming days because people's attention span is again coming down and down. And as a trainer, for me, it's very difficult to create the whole lot of content or small contents in that size. This is just a how to cope up with these type of challenges.
Very perfectly brought out, sir. So the point is twofold. Now, while I've been talking on the brighter side of the technology adoption, the digital landscape, what you brought out is the key downfall in terms of it. Now, if you really look back, why do you think the attention span has reduced? Because we have much more distractions than what it was 20 years back, 15 years back, 30 years back. Because
Yeah.
you're a trainer, I'll tell you, the moment the COVID was over, when I went in for classes, physical classes in the college, I started the class within 10 minutes. The student is asking me for a break. I said, we just started. And they said, sir, we are not able to sit. Because they were all used to this online learning where they switch on the this thing, connect into the link and then walk in and all that. So the distractions have increased. So now what do I do by bite-sized learning? Now, two ways in which that happens. Where are we heading? I'll bring it. One thing that we evolved over a period of time was there were these questioning modes. Some of these things where people ask the question and if they responded well, fine. If not, they'll give you that particular module alone as a video for you to learn and then respond. That's where it started. But today, it has gone into a scenario where it has taken twofold. One is read a topic whenever you want, and no topic will be more than 10, 12 minutes. But that also started fading because, as you rightly said, the attention span went down. So now people are slowly moving towards 2 minute, 3 minute audios. If it is a video, it is more of animations, less of these kinds of text. wherein people start doing it. But the bigger thing that is changing today is how are you bringing in their perspective into this. Now, that is basically putting yourself into the learner's shoes and working with them, making it more experiential. So even if it is a 2-second video, 2-minute video or a 3-minute video, how do I make them relate to it so that I will? So where is it moving towards? Two parts. One is going to be shorter videos, but it is going to be more experiential. But the second thing which has already started, there is a topic that comes in when we talk about e-learning, is your gamification. Today we have started gamifying a lot of these things. You complete this, you get that, you get that, you do this. A lot of those gamifications. So these two together is where the learning development function is actually moving towards. Gone are the days when we had physical sessions, but even the online sessions, we don't do, as you rightly said, I have handled 2 hours of these ISTD batches. In fact, I was talking to Gurvinder, I was asking him, is it 1.5 hours or 2 hours? And he said 1 hour. I was saying, yes, I remember 2, then it changed to 1.5, now 1, as you rightly said. Even ISTD, though I know you said you didn't point at this. So the point is we are totally compressing it. Now, the other way of putting it, what ISTD does. Earlier, if you look at it, when I was handling 2-hour session, there was no course material that was given to the learners. Today, the course material is given. What is the idea? You learn at your ease. Keep reading it. But these sessions are going to be a summary of those. That's where the distinction. So where are we heading to your question? One, we are looking at short videos, short learning modules. But two, we are talking about a gamification and a pre-read, post-read evaluations, which will probably help us out to bring them into the core of what they want to learn. While I did not give you a direct answer, hope you are getting the grasp of where we are moving towards, sir.
Yes, I think we have more such concerns definitely in this day, and we have to. That means for making for summarizing the thing to make it accessible.
Absolutely. Like Prasanna says in the chat, a lot of trainers have started using Kahoot and others in our regular classes, online classes also. So trying to engage people. So trying to see how we can keep them occupied. Now, let's face it. Why am I asking questions expecting you to respond? If I don't get a response, I know some of you are not around, some of you are not interested and all that. When I get a response, I know people are listening, so we will do. That's exactly where we move towards. Now, having said this, so far we have tried to understand what digital transformation is and how did we achieve this. Now, I will ask a basic question. I was asking you what is digital transformation, some people use the term digitization. Some people use digital, some people use transformation. So let us probably look at understanding the difference between these. These are three terms which are interchangeably used. I'm sure you'll agree. Digitization, digitalization, digital transformation. Are there any difference between the three? Excuse me.
Yes, sir.
What could it be?
Sir, basically, digitization means it is the process of converting any information from physical to digital one.
Okay.
And digitalization is the basically process of leveraging digitization to improve the business process. So
Okay.
basically, digitization, we can say it is basically to improve business processes, and digitization is basically converting the uh, information from physical form to digital form.
Okay. Then what is digital transformation?
So transformation basically is the transformation of business activities like business outcome, how business processes is going on, what are the products and what are the models which will basically increase the opportunity of the digital technology, how this is going to improve the overall business outcomes. So that is digital transformation.
Okay. Anybody else want to add anything here? Perfectly said. Digitization is converting your physical information to digital format. Like I scan the paper document and save it on computer, or instead of writing notes on paper, I am probably using an Excel spreadsheet or something for me to put things together and all that. So that's exactly where digitization comes in. Digitalization is actually making the digitized data drive the business process. Again, rightly said, So I upload the PDF document from the computer's hard drive to a cloud so that people can share. I convert the Excel to a shareable Excel or into a Google Sheet so that all of us can work together in a cloud. Now, the digital transformation we already saw is a strategy and model to completely leverage the tech. Basically, I will read the data from an online PDF and then I will move it into a Google Sheet or whatever and into an app or a system that will analyze the data. So I'm entirely moving into a digital platform. So the timeline, if you really look at it, it evolved this way. We were only digitizing in the initial days. Then we slowly moved on into digitalization, wherein I started using the digital data. But today, I'm able to automate, build insights, take decisions based on the various data, thanks to AI, cloud, and mobile apps. This is a true transformation, and that is what we mean by digital transformation. And again, we saw this was possible basically because one pandemic, it transformed the way we work, train our business, do our business. Two, the remote and hybrid work basically accelerated the virtual learning and the collaboration tools and automated process. We had to, because we had people not coming to office at all. Like one of my clients, where on the other side where I consult, one of the clients, they have their policy wherein they say, we hire people on 3 terms. One, they work permanently in office. Two, they are expected to come X percentage of hours from office. Three, permanently working from home. So today our policies have evolved to achieve to this level, which means we had to consider a lot of these virtual learnings. And lastly, the expectations also are changing. Even businesses have started saying fail fast. Earlier, we used to say, look at it 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line, strategize. Today, the strategy is all talking about failing fast. So the entire essence of our operations have evolved into a faster thing. And how has it impacted? How has this digitalization impacted? Some real world examples. Your online recruitment without, in fact, I know some of I have partnered with a few tools wherein there is not even a single iota of human intervention. The AI will map the JDs with the profile, pick the candidate, schedule the meeting, conduct the interview. Even a technical interview, the candidate will be expected to write the code. It's a conversational AI. The AI will tell you, you have done this, but how do you think this will be, this can be optimized? He will give you, the candidate can give the code. Using all that, it will create a decision-making report. You can allow the AI to decide, or you can take that report to with these recordings for you to figure out what is it before you decide, which means I've gone to a stage where I don't need a human intervention at all and get into recruitment. Well, I'm not going to get into the area of how is AI replacing humans, are there going to be and all that, because we have had a lot of those things and that's not within the scope of this. The point is the impact of digitization has come this far. Secondly, the data-driven customer recommendations, like what I talked about Amazon and all that. And lastly, the Netflix example, streaming services. We are no longer having physical media storage. We are talking about an online streaming mode and all that. So digitization is actually cut into every walk of life. But now, if I'm going to ask you, how is it into L&D or training and development? Can anyone say how has this impacted our L&D environment? Anybody?
It has made it more convenient for us, where the participant or the learners can use the digital medium, to learn, to even for assessment sake, especially after
Okay.
the COVID, where
Okay.
physical meetings or training sessions was impossible almost. So I
Mhm.
think after that, it made it convenient, and it made it easy also for the trainers, because a lot of things can be uploaded into the medium, and it's easy for them to access as well. So the
Super.
blended learning part, I think it made it handy for us.
Super. Anybody else? Anything else you want to add?
The adult learning principle has
Mm-hmm.
been attached. Content development become easy, and the online experience through some videos, and that can, which in practical sessions sometimes it was not possible. Now it is possible, and it is able to connect every person in the organization. And
Right.
as well as the records, assessment methodologies grew up. feedbacks grew up, and based on that, the data generated through the output of the organization able to align what need to be updated in learning system.
Super. So in essence, if you look at it, the digital learning tools have made education accessible. The government portal SWAYAM itself is a classic case. We all talk about Khan Academies to Coursera's, but the government scale, this thing that comes in there, or our LMS and virtual classrooms are the new norms. Today, everybody is talking about LMS, everybody is talking about virtual classrooms. And that means I need to have a lot more videos. Today, I don't even have to depend on a video creation creator, an expert for me to create. I can use some of these online LLM tools and all that, which will enable me to create videos based on text. I state what is the video I want and it gives me the output. Just tweak it to the way we want it and then take it. So there are a lot of those things. And yes, a lot of micro learning. I talked about bite size, which is what is micro learning. We are also getting into VR, AR, basically virtual reality, augmented reality. Earlier days, we used to see solar system on the paper. Then we started looking at photos. Today, kids have started experiencing it with the AR, VR technology. Basically, blending the virtual reality into your physical environment is your augmented reality. So today, during COVID, it started. I know a few organizations who are using this. I'm a partner to a few of these products, wherein the induction is remote, but they get to see the work environment of the organization. They get to see people, talk to people, and all that on a virtual reality world. So today we have moved into that, and social learning is replacing the traditional formats. What do I mean by that? Lot of us are into LinkedIn learning. I don't stop with learning there, but I also put it saying I've completed this, I've done this. Or even if I do it in a Coursera or anywhere, I add badges. So today it is more of a social learning that has happened, and all this is possible because of the digitization. Now, having said this, how do I ensure my digitization is successful? It's really important for us basically because we as L&D function folks, while it is easy to say digitization and all that, all of us are undergoing an online learning. You know how much of us are able to focus heavily on this, as was rightly said some time back. Even the small 1 hour session, how much of us are able to fully get involved into it and all that. So there are 6 pillars that we need to cater to, which will help us achieve these. Basically, what we are talking about is one, in terms of experience, 2, people, 3, change, 4, innovation, 5, leadership, and lastly, culture. Now,
Excuse
what
me,
do I
lot
mean by that? Yeah,
of background sounds are coming.
yeah. If some,
Kindly
all of you
answer.
can mute yourself. Thank you. Surinder, if you're still there, probably mute everyone excepting me. I think I have the access. I can do that. I'll mute all. Great. Okay. Fine. So now the point that I was trying to talk about here, was we have gone into a scenario where to make this successful, we need to look at these 6 pillars. Now, what do I mean by experience here? We will see each of those. What do I mean by experience here? Where is people coming in? What type of change are we looking at? How is it different from the innovation we are talking about? What are the leadership traits that we are talking about? And where is the culture that is coming in? So all this we will see in the next few things. But before that, just a quick question. If you are expected to look at this and then concur or not, do you concur to this? And where do you think all this will blend into how do you think all this will blend into for the success of digitization? Anybody? This image is there in the material and I've just picked to that. Now, what is experience? Let's probably go step by step. What do you mean by experience here? We need to see the journey, the behavior, the expectation. Anybody wanting to add?
Sir, it's basically the customer and the employee overall. If I consider about the employee.
Sorry, Tej, I think you got muted. Unmute yourself.
Sorry, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, basically, if you talk about the experience of employee particularly, so the parameters which organization will see basically would be the what is the area of expertise, how much experience he has got in that, which will help for the overall growth of the organization. And simultaneously, if looking into the customer part, so what is the need, what is the requirement from the customer side, and whether that employee is being connected with that customer need or not, whether he is able to fulfill that or not with his skills or with his knowledge. So these are the parameters which company will look. So this will come under experiences.
Okay. Anybody on people, change or
Preferences.
innovation? Yeah.
Preferences, liking, disliking, what are the
Okay.
preferences? That also come under experience, because based on the preferences, most of the companies are devising their product and launching their product.
Right. Makes sense. The other towers, anybody wants to talk about other pillars?
Experiences means impact of the changes.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe physical, maybe virtual, maybe good, bad, right, wrong. That's all the experiences.
Right. So I'll probably, in the interest of time, I'll get into the next slide where I'll give you the entire bird's eye view of it. Experience, basically, that we as an L&D team must understand the customer journey, because I cannot implement technology blindly, expecting the customer to learn by himself. If I need to get into the technology, I need to understand the impact, the repercussions. How do I go about doing it? We all know the challenges we underwent day one when we started getting into Zoom meetings during COVID. But today it is a lot better. So I mute everybody and say, you unmute yourself, we are able to. We were not able to during those days. We had to learn. So the experience matters a lot. People. The second thing is we were able to learn then, but how? There were a few people who knew it. So without the right talent or without people focusing on those, I will not be able to work on it, which means if I need to invest in people and commit to the development, it is really important that I understand the people. I know who will be loyal and what is it going to benefit out of them to me versus them, before which I will not be able to achieve it. But the biggest factor, as we always say, change is the only constant factor. Now, we require people to change. We know how much of challenge we had in the earlier days, initial days of COVID, where people were not accepting technology. But today, everybody is able to. So we cannot force it. But at the same time, we should communicate in a manner that people understand and take it. So suddenly, if I say I'm going digital, the training is going to be digital, all of you are going to join, you might have people not accepting it. So you need to educate them as to why digital, what are the advantages. You'll have to strategize that change, without which you will not be able to succeed. Fourth is innovation. Now, what is innovation? It's a creativity. In simple terms, it is creativity, right? Now, but it doesn't stop there. The creativity actually leads to some change in the business. So when I'm going this kind of remote learning and all that, there is a lot of creativity that comes in, because the organization looks at transforming the way they train people. And we need to put it in such a way that the success that you had on the physical training is still there on the virtual training, so on and so forth. So it's really, really important that we are able to envisage that. So this innovation is the one which drives the digital transformation to a success. So it's really important that we get into that mode. But all this is fine. But the success is on the leader. If we don't have a leader who is proactive and looks out for such things and starts implementing, you can't do it. Like, with due respect, while I'm not supposed to name, probably 5-6 years back, a major IT organization sent out a lot of people. That's when this union and all that in IT started coming in. People were saying all 40 plus is being chucked out. What was the reality there? They gave an explanation. These 40 plus people were people who did not learn the new technology, nor did they allow their subordinates to implement the new technology. So they were a deterrent to the organization, so they were sent out. So the essence of leadership comes in here. A leader must be proactive. Now, let's say, for example, we are all heading L&D or supposed to head L&D for a period of time. If we don't nurture automation, if we don't nurture virtual learning, do you think we will be looked up? We will not be. Do you think we will succeed? We will not be. So unless and until I accept the change will never happen if I'm going to lead. So that's a big thing that we need to manage. Last but not the least, that should form into the culture. Now, if I may ask, what is culture of an organization? Anybody?
Belief,
Sorry?
belief,
Belief. Okay.
It's
Anything
value
else? Anybody
system.
else?
Value system.
Values,
Value
vision,
system.
mission,
Okay.
purpose,
Hmm.
feelings,
Mission
emotion.
statement.
That called the culture. Transparency,
Okay.
structure policies, onboarding. That is called the culture.
Okay.
Culture
Yeah.
is always a shared system where it's a collective responsibility of the people, their attitude, and also it defines the company's personality on the people, which can be a
Okay.
Think learning culture, safety culture.
Perfect. So to a great extent, if you really look at it, culture actually started off with a Latin word called cultura, which meant cultivation. So you are actually cultivating the soul. So as you rightly said, culture is the bread and butter of the organization. That is how eat, breathe, everything. So if as an organization, I don't support digitization, but I want to get into virtual learning, I'll not be able to achieve. So I should build the culture. I should bring in people to talk about e-learnings. I should allow people to understand digital because the digital transformation can never ever succeed if a business culture is not towards digitization. So we need to ensure we achieve that. So the 6 pillars for a successful digital transformation are experience. I need to experience it. I need to know what it is. People, I need to have the right people to do the right things. Change. I need to accept change. I need to realize change is the only constant factor. And more importantly, learn to innovate because these are newer areas. I need to keep testing it out to see what is successful. And for that, I need an efficient leader who is able to look at things proactively and help guide in terms of trying to bring in an order in terms of what it is rather than playing it by the ear. And finally, the culture of the organization should align to this, without which we will not be able to do that. Am I making sense? Are all of us clear? Any thoughts, comments?
Yes, sir. It's okay.
Okay. So the next aspect is fine, all this is fine, but how do I ensure I achieve it? So while there are multiple models that will help us achieve this, we need to know this. While we don't necessarily have to keep this in mind every time am I doing it, the idea is we need to understand the structure in which we can do it. So a good model that I have is being used in our material, which is what I'm picking up, is the McKinsey 7S model. Basically, the 7S model is divided into 3 plus 4. Basically, 3 hard elements and 4 soft elements. Now, all these start with yes, obviously, that's why it's a 7S model. The first yes, which is a hard element, is the strategy. Now, how am I going to implement? How long is it going to take? Is it going to be phase wise? Is it going to be team wise? Is it going to be company wide? Is it going to be geography wide? I need to plan it. I need to strategize the transformation. That is where the leader's role makes a big impact. Once I know the strategy, I will have to structure it, which means I need to have a change agent. We have all learned about it in the past. We need to have a change agent. Without a change agent, none of it is going to be successful. Number two, I need to know who is going to be impacted. Good example, I have some trainers who are excellent when they do the physical training. Will they be able to do the similar this thing in your online learning? Are they online in terms of chats plus Q&A plus everything? Will they be able to achieve? Or should I build in some training program for them? So that structuring has to be built. And then the third piece is build the systems. Now, is it going to disrupt? Now, let's say, for example, if I'm going to implement CRM, how will I going to transition? What are the challenges with respect to security? How am I going to train these people? How am I going to onboard the existing one? What are the risks? How am I going to mitigate? Lot of these things will have to be looked at. Now, the reason why these are hard elements is because this is the foundation based on which you will start operating in terms of your implementation. So the soft elements are the strategy, is it aligning to the company values? Is the implementation blending to the employee culture, that is the style that I'm talking about here, or the staff, what are the kind of staff required? How are they going to be enabled to it? And how is the leadership team supporting it? And finally, are they having the right skills in terms of doing what you want to? So a lot of this will actually depend on the hard elements. Now, why are we doing this? Whenever you want to implement, it is really important that you look at all this for you to achieve it. But you will have, you normally, if you really look at it, whenever you're trying to automate, you will actually look at all these. Technically, you are looking at all this, but you may not be putting it into a particular bucket like what we are talking about. So the idea behind giving this is you're bringing in a method into the madness. So the key factors you're talking about is I need to strategize. I'm sure all of us will know what we are talking about. All of us will understand this because without strategy, we cannot survive. And once I know the strategy, I need to start planning for the implementation, get the systems in place, and ensure the organization is aligned to it. The culture enables them to do it. I have the right skilled people for those activities. This is not rocket science, but it is put into a structure. Is it making sense? I'm sure all of us would have had an experience in terms of implementing it. So I'm not getting into detail, but giving you this perspective. Am I making sense? Anybody wanting any drill down on this?
Sir, this is Hari, sir.
Yeah, Hari.
Yes, sir. Actually, I worked in a traditional banking also. What you told is rightly true, sir. We have to adopt the changes because I worked in manual work in banking sector and also in a digital transformation also. So McKinsey 7S model last semester also we read. Practical implication now in our bank, the McKinsey is doing some strategy in to develop the business. So while adopting their 7S model, no, I little bit, the changes, adopt the changes is very difficult for me because I'm transforming myself from manual to digital. But while you are explaining, is it, it makes very good sense, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Because very tough McKinsey company is very, very tough strategy they are implementing. So what I'm facing is because suddenly change from manual to digital is a little bit tough
That
for
is
me.
where the culture of the organization makes sense, Dr.
Yes, sir. Exactly, sir. Exactly, sir. Thank you, sir.
And
Thank you so much.
understanding the shared value. That's why I said, are the strategy aligned with the company values and style, fit the learning styles of employees? See,
Yes, sir.
typically you'll have challenges when you have these baby boomers who are just about to retire. They may not want to accept it. That's a classic example. While I'm not demeaning them. Once
Sir,
they
same,
become retired, they will be on the mobile phone only. But at the
same,
organization level, you'll have a challenge.
sir. Really, same situation for me, sir. Within a 5 years, I'm going to return from the bank.
Right. So that's where it happens. Fine. So
Yes.
having said this, how am I going to implement? What is the strategy? Basically, I need to start with a blueprint. I need to align to what I want, evaluate and ensure the participation of the leadership is there. Without the leadership buy-in, we cannot achieve. Then invest in the culture. That is very important. I'm going to do this, start doing it is not going to help. You will have to make the organization believe the need. See, always a lot of things happen when I'm able to give a bigger picture understanding to the people who are going to follow. If I say, I'm saying this, you do it, the acceptance is less rather than saying, we need this because of this is reason. Do you concur? What is it that you think will not work out here? And then take them into the decision. It is easy. So invest your time in creating a culture. Focus on agility. Now, agile is something that is becoming the norm of the day. There is so much of a change that I need to keep going back to the user community on a regular basis. Like L&D example, I'm going to make by this thing bite-sized learning or micro learning enabled. Start doing it. No, what is micro learning? Is that going to be helpful? Should I do it in every aspect or where should I? Maybe pilot it. So those are things that form part of the strategy as per the 7S. But yes, we need to look at this. And more importantly, it is iterative. You keep changing it, going back to the client, coming back, going back to the user community, coming back, rather than doing it in silos. And most important is there is innovation and immersion that has to come in. Immersion here is not getting drowned, but it is more in terms of accepting and saying, don't you think it is required? Isn't it not obvious that we have to get into this mode? That is very important for us to get into this mode so that we are able to achieve a lot here. Am I making sense? Any questions?
No,
There
sir.
are 4 more slides, but I think we have already reached 12:30. So I will pause here. We will continue. Basically, I'll have to start with the journey. What are the milestones that we have? And then talk about the roles which are involved. And then talk about why digital transformation is required before I get into the next module, which talks more in terms of the aspects around the digitalization, basically the learning disruptions, the changing workforce. So I will pause here. I will talk about the transformation journey, milestones, the roles involved, and all that in the next session, but being considerate of the time. But before I stop the session, one last time, any specific questions, any thoughts,
Sir,
comments, any feedback on the pace, whatever it is.
sir,
Mhm,
it was a wonderful session. But the only thing,
mhm.
so digital transformation has already started. It is now the thing that we cannot avoid.
Correct. Absolutely.
And we have to be paced with the speed only we have to maintain. How fast the
Absolutely.
things are moving, and in my view,
Absolutely.
we have to take care of the pace. Some
Correct.
organizations have already taken, for example, many departments, state governments are not very much PSUs as well as private companies. So different companies have different pace. So only thing is
Correct.
that we have to set pace and accordingly we have to adjust.
Absolutely. And that is where some of these come and see. These are trainings. If you really look at it, some of it already happening, but we will put it from a theory angle because that puts a method into what we are doing. But you're right in terms of saying it's already happening and we need to structure it so that it is becoming successful. Pratik, I
Yeah.
saw you raising your hand and then putting it down. Do you have
Yes,
anything?
sir. So,
Yeah.
sir, I am in L&D part only in pharma company. So
Mhm,
there was the process of digitalization of other plants also. So
mhm,
you mentioned before that the reasons for the change where leadership was the main part, right? So
mhm.
this is what I also faced, and I was able to recollect that why I was not able to do that. So this was something I thought of sharing. That's it.
Super. Thank you. Anybody else?
It
You're
is
all
it
okay with
is
the
the
pace?
it is need of the hour.
Absolutely, Sanjay. You're 100%
Because
right.
that's why you are seeing that even government companies and the government is digitization in
Exactly.
every aspect of life.
Very rightly said. Very rightly said. That's becoming the need because all of us are more comfortable on the mobile. Today, the governments have WhatsApp channels. You're
Yeah,
right. That is where we are moving towards. You're
everything is
100% right.
available on site.
Exactly.
So
Anybody else? Anything else? Yeah.
one small example how the digital transformation impacted because
Mhm.
while traveling in a bus, even conductor is asking to GPay for the tickets.
Exactly. No, in fact, one of the recent interactions with my brother who's in US, when he came down recently, he said, digitization has not got this far in US, but it is here. Even your seller in a three-wheeler outside in the road has a GPay tag with him, which is not the case for us in US. That's a level that has happened in India. But yes, you're right. Everywhere we have gone into the GPay mode and all that.
Sir, even
While there are challenges in all of it, data security, our own security and all that, yes, but that has moved to that level. Yes, Mr. Sanjay.
sir, even sabji wala in sabji market is taking
Exactly.
5 to 10 rupees on digital form these days.
With due respects, the beggars have got their GPay numbers, QR code in their neck.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, digital money, Pratik, you're right. Okay, overall, all of you are okay with the pace. Things are fine. Everything is okay.
Yes, sir. It was good.
Perfect. So we will meet again in the next session. I will continue from where we left and take it forward. I will share this with Gurvinder so that he will share the training material to you folks as appropriate so that it is a lot easier for you to refer also. But one disclaimer, the session deck that I give is only a summary of what you have on the chapter. For you to understand this session, you need to read the 13 pages of module 1 in your course material. Don't forget that, right? Thanks, everyone.